on public education. Every Wisconsin child has a constitutional right to a well-funded and world-class public education. This right has been hacked away at over and over and over again since 2011. And when we evaluate where we have come as a state over these last 12 years, my evaluation is grim. History will not look kindly on how Republicans in Wisconsin have attacked public education. It's been bad for a decade, and this budget is no exception. Defunding public schools and shifting state funding to unaccountable voucher schools that operate without transparency and accountability and are able to discriminate against Wisconsin families is no way to spend the people's money. Further, there is a moral imperative to serve children with special needs, to provide services they need, and to fund those services adequately. The Republicans in this legislature have spent over a decade defunding schools, failing to fund special education, and putting schools in positions to move money around to uphold their commitment to serving children with special needs, while making choices to cut other critical and meaningful services and offerings in their districts. And I believe that there is dishonesty in how public education funding is being presented. You're claiming historic investments while not keeping up with inflation. If you do not keep up with inflation, that's a cut. And maybe worst of all, the people of Wisconsin have been told for a decade that the reason the schools can't be funded is because there isn't enough money. It's clear now that wasn't true. With a $7 billion surplus, from my vantage point, it looks like you weren't truthful about why you were defunding the schools and instead gathered up that money and handed it out in a tax plan that disproportionately affects the wealthiest Wisconsinites. I'm particularly concerned that your new Wealthy Wisconsin tax plan blows a $1 billion a year hole in the state budget, and this will be the next excuse for future cuts. There is also a moral mandate that children deserve to eat. No child in the wealthiest, most powerful country in the world should be hungry because their family cannot afford to eat. But here we are, and we have children in Wisconsin who are going hungry. When you cannot eat, you cannot learn. And this legislature is staring at a $7 billion surplus in the face and choosing to not feed children, even knowing their test scores and their learning gaps will be affected by that choice. And instead, we're going to hand $20 million to the wealthiest 11 Wisconsinites. I don't know who the 11 wealthiest Wisconsinites are, but I know who those hungry children are. They live in my district, and I think this choice in this legislature to fund the rich instead of feeding kids is wrong.